Welcome, Crossover Report. Three guys, one mic, coming at you on this Tuesday afternoon, the day after, obviously, last night, national championship. People are debating, is it one of the best national championship finishes of all time? It's up there for sure if you read an article today on Crossover Report, but hell of a game last night. Villanova took it 77-74 over North Carolina, so going to give our reactions from that game last night. As always, Nick Damiani, Paul Lamb, and myself, Neil Doyle. So just jump right into it. Last night, national championship game. It was the heavyweights of the tournament, to say the least. Two of the teams that just really dominated the whole tournament. It seemed like they were destined to meet. I think a lot of people surprised how well Villanova played throughout the tournament. North Carolina was expected to do what they did all tournament long, and they met each other. And I mean, it was a fun game if you watched it through and through. It was a lot of back and forth. North Carolina was up by 5 at halftime. And then, Villanova in the second half, it was a back-and-forth game. It was a game where some runs. It was back and forth. Villanova up by 10 with as many, I think, as Paul, we were saying before, 5 minutes. They were up 6 with about a minute and a half. North Carolina clawed their way back. And let's start with that Marcus Page shot. I mean, what a shot. I couldn't believe, one, that he was able to hang in the air that long. I mean, he double pumped with, I think it was Archie Diacono running at him. Looked like he played perfect D, but ducked under him and just threw it up there, and it went in. I mean, people thought that was going to be the shot of the game. I mean, just you have two of the better shots, I think, in the title game at the end of the game. Granted, it tied the game up, so Page's shot was huge. I mean, you could almost rank that shot, even though it wasn't, obviously, then the next shot for Villanova was much bigger because it won the game, but I mean, you could rank Page's shot as maybe that might be a shot that ranks up there in a title game or even a tournament game for the magnitude of the game it was. I don't know. I mean, can you rank that shot even though it didn't mean anything in the end? I mean, can you still rank that shot up there as maybe one of the best shots in a title game ever? I don't know. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have Pincus right now on Twitter telling me that. But yeah, that probably would have been one of the top shots of the tournament. I mean, that's Mario Chalmers' 2008 shot, like, times 100. If the game would have gone to OT and North Carolina would have won, that probably would have been top 2 shot of all time. Just the level of difficulty and what was on the line, it was unbelievable.
Nick?
Definitely a great shot. Sad it's going to be forgotten in a lot of places
Right.
here. Kind of like I relate to the Devin Hester Super Bowl return. Nobody remembers that. Bears lost. North Carolina lost. I mean, you got to win to live in infamy forever. So, I mean, it's a nice shot, but not a lot of people will remember it in 10 years.
And then, obviously, so that shot from Page, which was ridiculous, tied the game up. With about 4 seconds left, it was Villanova calls a timeout, 74-74. They have to go the length of the floor. And Archie Diacono brings it up, does a really nice job, and they said they run this play all the time in practice for end-of-game situations, and it worked out perfectly where Kris Jenkins was the inbounder, just trailed. Archie Diacono drove, just pitched it back to him at the top of the arc, and Jenkins was wide open because his defender got screened, and he hit a huge shot and he knocked it down, and Villanova wins their first national championship since 1985. And I know Paulie, or I think it was Paulie, or I don't know if it was Nick who wrote our article today about ranking that shot. I mean, where can you say that was maybe the best shot ever to win, or best, I don't know if you could say it's best game or best, finish to a title game ever. I know our article, we ranked it second behind. A lot of people are saying maybe that NC State finish is still a little bit higher. But in your guys' mind, is it easily a top 5 finish to an NCAA title game? Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely a top 5 finish. I don't know if there's been even 5 actual buzzer beaters in NCAA championship history to where the game ends on the final shot. So it's definitely up there. I mean, it was a pretty deep 3, and just that sequence in general, going from the Marcus Page shot into just an incredible sequence. I don't think that shot specifically is better than the NC State thing, just because NC State's run seemed more memorable than theirs. And then the guy jacks one up from almost half court and they catch it like an alley-oop and dunk it in. But it's definitely a top 5. I think Paul placed it in the right spot at number 2, because anytime you can walk off for a national title is impressive.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think a big part of the NC State shot was that you have Jim Valvano, who now, of course, has been such an iconic figure And then they also
Italian.
that was a good Italian man, exactly. And on top of that, that was probably the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in tournament history. They beat the five slam jamma Houston team with Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon. Like that kind of makes it even bigger. But I think I'm telling you, like I said in the article, I think it's going to grow this shot. I think it might jump this shot eventually if Marcus Page and Bryce Johnson. I mean, this North Carolina team might be chock full of NBA talent. And so while obviously the shot difficulty in the Villanova was more difficult because it wasn't just a tip in, it's second right now, but I think it's gonna rise as the years go on.
And I would hope. I mean, it was a crazy finish. I mean, I just think with all, like you said, that NC State, what a run that was for them to win that title, and looking at it now, Jimmy V and everything, it's going to be hard for it to pass, but it's got to be a top 5 game right now for sure, all time in the title game. But Villanova came out. A lot of people weren't sure what they were going to do. I know in our preview video, Paul mentioned, down low. A lot of people didn't know if they had enough down low with just Ochefu inside and with, all the big men in North Carolina and Johnson, Meeks, Isaiah Hicks. Were they going to be able to stop them? They did a great job of it last night, and it was really weird to see that it was kind of vice versa for North Carolina, who hadn't shot the ball well from 3 all tournament long, came out last night and shot it great. They shot 64%. Page and Joel Berry were huge, hitting threes all night long. But then the big man down low just could not finish. And you got to give a lot of credit to Villanova. They did a good job of pressuring the ball handlers out on the perimeter to make it so extremely hard to get the ball inside. And then when North Carolina did get the ball inside, they didn't really finish. Bryce Johnson had a pretty good game. I believe he had 14 points or something like that. But Kennedy Meeks and Justin Jackson really struggled down low when they had chances in the paint to finish. They just didn't do that. But was that something that surprised you guys, where it was a kind of a role reversal? North Carolina shot the ball so well and didn't play as well inside as they had all tournament long. And do you got to credit that more to how Villanova played defensively? Nick, I know you're a Villanova hater, so also, are you just surprised at this outcome? I know both of you had North Carolina winning the championship. What are your thoughts kind of on the game last night?
I'm not shocked they won. It was a year of parity, and really anybody could win, even a weak team like a Villanova. I mean, but that's why you like March Madness. I mean, the best team doesn't always win the championship. It's true. I mean, they did win. They played the best in March. I don't think they're the best team still, and I give them a lot of credit. But going back to the shooting thing, would they shoot like 64%? If you would have told me they were going to shoot that from 3, I would have thought they were going to blow Villanova out. The fact is, Bryce Johnson was held in check for most of the game. What do you have, like
14
points? I mean, and then Villanova, I was talking about the other day, they weren't going to keep up their shooting. I still think they shot like 58% from the field. I mean, they played really solid basketball. The one dude, Booth, was hitting almost everything, just tough shots, ridiculous. I mean, that's huge. And then Arcidiacono did what he's been doing all tournament. They just had guys step up. Their whole team does it. Normally you think you need a star to do it, like Oklahoma Buddy Hield. They did it with all 8 guys they play or whatever. And this was just one of those games. I don't think Villanova necessarily really outplayed North Carolina. It was just one of those games which whatever team had the ball with less amount of time, with less shot, was going to win the game. And that's what happened.
Paulie, general thoughts of the game last night?
I think what Villanova did so well, they beat the hell out of North Carolina. Like, physically, when you watched, they were just hitting them down low in the paint, offense, defense. They really got into UNC. I think that kind of took the bigs out of it. It kind of threw them off their spots. But that was big. Villanova, they've been the same way forever. They're led by some scrappy white guy from, the Bronx or wherever Arcidiacono is from. And then they just got big guys around them who can play basketball. And it worked. Like Nick said, they shot the ball well again. They're not the best team in the tournament. They're not the best team in the country, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is they won the championship. They bring home the trophies. They cut down the nets.
So you guys still are. So what I'm hearing, just my thoughts. Phil Booth was huge off the bench. He had 20 points. He hadn't really done a whole lot all tournament long. He's just a scrappy player, but huge game for him. Without him, Villanova doesn't win this game. And that's really, and they had guys do what they needed to do. But Jenkins got in a little bit of foul trouble. Granted, he hit the biggest shot of the game to win. But he was in and out of the game with foul trouble. Ochefu and Brunson didn't do a whole lot. But Booth off the bench, man, the sophomore, he really was huge for them, knocking down shots. But what it sounds like, so are you telling me you don't give them the nod as winning the national championship, that they're not the best team? They beat who everybody thought was the two best teams in the tournament in Kansas and North Carolina. Who else do you think would beat them in this tournament if you don't think they're the best team in the country right now? So let's start with you, Paul.
They had a good run. Like, it's not to say they didn't earn the championship. They played North Carolina 10 times. I don't think they're going to win a majority of the times.
They won it when it mattered.
Exactly. They did win.
Right, they won. They won the right. They cut down the nets. Power
That's why in the NBA, they tell the best team by playing a 7-game series. It's not just one game, because anybody can beat anybody in one game. The Sixers almost beat the Warriors in one game, but we're not going to call the Sixers almost as good as the Warriors.
I agree. I don't know, though. I mean, I think when you beat and it's not like this was some spoof that they were a 17. They had 5 losses all year long. Nick's going to talk crap and they played in the Big East. They had the 10th hardest schedule in the country. They had 5 losses. Here are their 5 losses: Oklahoma, Virginia, Providence, Xavier, Seton Hall. All those teams in the tournament.
Okay. All of those teams in the tournament. They didn't beat one of them, did they? They beat Seton Hall once, and they beat Xavier once, I think. That's it. Those were their good wins.
All those teams were in the tournament. None of those teams weren't in the tournament. So they had 5
losses. They didn't beat them.
10th hardest schedule all year long.
And they didn't beat them.
What does that mean? You're telling me that they didn't play anybody.
They lost to all those teams. Right.
They lost to Oklahoma and Virginia, which were 2 of their harder games. Do you want me to pull up and see who else they beat throughout the year?
They probably beat Xavier once. They probably beat Seton Hall once, and they probably beat Providence once.
Butler was in the tournament. They beat them. They beat Seton Hall once. Who was the other Big East team in the tournament?
Seton Hall was bounced first round. Xavier was bounced second round.
They were still in the tournament, though. They didn't lose to anybody that wasn't in the NCAA tournament. So
they all put up great showings in the tournament. They're very talented teams, of course. Sorry.
I mean, they're still. I don't buy it.
They're playing like
Big East.
Oklahoma.
The Big East had 3 more teams. The Big East had 3 more teams than the SEC. The SEC is supposed to be the next best conference behind whoever. I mean, Big Ten, ACC had 6 teams. They were 1 behind. Big East was 1 team behind the ACC.
Big 12, ACC. Who else is there? There's somebody else better than Big East in there too. Fuck Pac-12. I'd rather have Pac-12 with Oregon and whoever else they had this year, Utah.
I don't know about that. I don't.
You're saying a Butler is a tough one. I don't.
Butler's in the tournament.
Because they played in the Big East.
Here's the difference, though. Big East top to bottom, not as strong as a Pac-12, but they're still
the top of the Big East. Not good.
Villanova. They were all in the tournament.
Villanova, and then who? Xavier.
They had 5 teams in. Yeah, Xavier was a 2.
How far did Xavier go?
They did lose in the second round. How far did Michigan State go? They lost to Middle Tennessee State.
Right, so. Right. Maryland, though. Maryland went far. Sort of. 2 rounds.
Purdue was supposed to. I mean, I'll talk shit about Purdue. My team, Purdue, I'll talk. Big Ten didn't do anything in this tournament.
I'll give Purdue a pass because Little Rock was one of the better teams in the tournament.
They were. Now they coming in. They were.
I really thought they were going to make an Elite 8 run.
Please don't say that because Matt Painter needs to be fired from Purdue. So that's just do not tell me playing in the Sun Belt. You're going to tell me Arkansas Little Rock had a tough schedule. You're going to talk shit about Villanova's schedule.
You got to think.
Who in the hell did Arkansas Little Rock play?
You got to think. So last year, the team from the Sun Belt, Georgia State or Southern, whatever, they won their first round game too. The Sun Belt is a good tournament.
They had a lottery pick on their team. They had R.J. Hunter, a lottery pick on their team.
Okay. What about Purdue? What is A.J. Hammond? He's got to get drafted, right?
Who?
He's probably not a lottery pick. Yeah, A.J. Hammond. No? Too big? No. Too slow?
I'll throw in that Illinois wasn't in. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a really fun.
Hold on.
It was a really fun.
Hold on. I'm not done yet. Hold on.
We're done.
Did you know a Sun Belt coach with a broken bone has never lost a first-round tournament game?
I do give you credit that you found that.
That's a fact. I'll be riding that one all the way till next March.
Found the statistic.
That's found.
Made the statistic.
I don't know. I think Villanova, yes. I don't think a lot of people had them winning. Actually, our winner of the Crossover Report Challenge, I believe it was Emily. Am I correct or wrong on that?
You're right.
I'm right. You two had a chance to win, but Emily was our winner. She was the only one in the challenge that picked Villanova to win, so she must have had some inside source that knew they were going to have the type of tournament that they did. But yeah, she picked Villanova. She was the only one. Villanova won it for her over you. I think one of you two would have won if North Carolina won, right?
Me.
It was fun. It was our first ever crossover report challenge. It was fun. I thought it was an exciting tournament. Yes, there were a lot of upsets. A lot of teams that I think people wanted to see late in the tournament, didn't make it, but it was a fun title game. Thank God after those final 4 games were so just blowout games. It was a really exciting championship game. So Villanova, your 2016 national champs, first time since 1985. And that's college basketball season for you. It was a year, as we said a million times in all of our college basketball episodes, a year of parity. So many upsets, and before you know it, it will be the season again. I know, I've been trying to keep up with the recruiting stuff. Hopefully we'll maybe have to do some recruiting videos for college. But NBA season is still full in swing. I think we've been all college our last few 3 guys, 1 mic. So got to talk some NBA. And then, before we leave, I think Archie Diacono was named Final Four Most Outstanding Player, and he had a great tournament, and so did that whole Villanova team. It was team basketball for them throughout the tournament. So Wildcats are your champs. Any final thoughts from you guys before we head out? Yes.
I'll say one thing. I think Archie Diacono was crapping his pants on that last play. I don't think he wanted that last shot. You saw the few times down before that when they were trapping him, he seemed completely lost and was just letting the ball go anywhere. He committed 2 huge turnovers.
Jay Wright
has no clutch gene.
4.7 seconds. That was the play they drew up, what they ran to win.
I don't know if he drew it up.
He was double teamed.
No, he was scared. That's what he was. He was scared.
They ran that play. That's all right. That's what
he wrote it that way. Did you see him drawing it on the board?
In his interview, he said he drew up that play in the huddle. I read.
Oh, he did. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where's your source? Broussard?
He does NBA. He doesn't do college. All right. I think that is what Nick tried. There we go. Paulie, anything? Our last college video before the 2016 season is over.
SLU lost two players today.
There you go. ISU also lost one Monday, I believe. So the small schools, it's hard to keep players in the college level, in the college rank. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you for listening. It's been a fun college basketball season, but we will still have plenty of basketball news for you here at Crossover Report. You can always follow us on Twitter at Crossover Report, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us right here on YouTube, and you can always visit us, crossoverreport.com. It's going to do it for us. As always, Paul Lamb, Nick Damiani, and myself, Neil Doyle. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.